You may be seated. I just noticed that you have questions even before I've said anything. In that you're not interested in what I want to say. You just want to ask me questions. Therefore, I'm not going to also waste too much of your time. But I want to begin by welcoming the members of the Fourth Estate to this session. I have had a very long relationship with the media. I know that the media has got a very, very important role to play in any society because you're the ones who convey the information to the people. And development is about the people. So the people need to be properly informed. That is what helps them to make correct decisions. So last evening, I had the opportunity to talk at length about my vision for the African Union. I had made a decision to come because this position is becoming vacant next year. And after consultations, many of my friends across the continent, they felt that I should offer myself for the position of the leadership at this moment in time. We all, among those friends of mine, are Pan-Africanists. And you know, Pan-Africanism is an ideology coined sometime in the last century. Its intention is to try to emancipate the people of Africa and to raise Africa to the rest of the world level so that African people can be treated as equal citizens of this globe. As you know, it came against the background of colonial domination of the continent. It raised the consciousness of African people to fight for their liberation. And through a bitter struggle, eventually independence was won across Africa. First, you know, the Ghana was the first African country to become independent. But before that, you need to know that Ethiopia, where we are, is the oldest African country. In other words, Ethiopia was never colonized. Ethiopia has always been independent. When the colonialists came here, we found a system of governance that was maybe much superior to their own. So when they were in Berlin, Ethiopia was excluded in that partition of Africa. But Ethiopia also suffered in that period because of discriminations and so on. So Ethiopia played a role in supporting liberation movements across the continent. That is why the Emperor Haile Selassie, at that time, who was the head of government, invited leadership of the independent African countries and the leadership of the liberation movements to come to Addis Ababa. And Addis Ababa became the venue for the formation of Organization of African Unity here. And 2 weeks ago, to celebrate the opening of a refurbished the African. Then the founders of African Unity who were here. There were several heads of state from the country, the countries in the continent which were independent. There were several heads of state from the country, the Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah is the one who had convened the first meeting of African leaders in Accra. Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah is the one who had convened the first meeting of African leaders in Accra, Ghana, in 1958. It was here. Ahmed Sekou Touré, who had led the second independent country, that is Guinea, 1958, was here. Mwalimu Julius Nyerere was also here. Leopold Sédar Senghor of Senegal was here. Houphouët-Boigny of Cote d'Ivoire was here. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe of Nigeria was here. And that's when Organization of African Unity was formed. The focus in us helping or assisting the unliberated countries of Africa to get freedom. A movement was coined here, which is called PAFMEXA, Pan-African Freedom Movement for Eastern, Central, and Southern Africa. And they went further because in South Africa, the whites were saying that South Africa was already independent. But then it came up with what was called the NIBMA, No Independence or Majority Rule. So Dar es Salaam became the headquarters of liberation of Africa. Mwalimu Nyerere gave facilities and financial support to this liberation movement. And the OAU itself here was basically mobilizing the world for the liberation of Africa. Eventually, with the fall of apartheid regime in South Africa in 1994, the rest of the continent was now liberated. OAU had accomplished its task. So it was then transformed to AU. Now AU focus is more on development, cooperation, and unity of Africa. Unity has always been there at the core, right from the days when the founding conference was held here in Addis Ababa. There was the question of unity now, African Union government now. And there are two schools of thought. One, the union government now. The other one is gradual process of unity. Start first with the regional the building block